We've completed our survey step, we've completed our active read, and now it's time to take on these questions. And in order to do that, I'm going to introduce you to a technique called rip-wrap. And the first thing to do when you rip-wrap is cover up the answers. Because what we're doing with this strategy, let me explain a little further. So we're doing rip-wrap. So rip stands for rephrase if possible. And then wrap, read around and predict. Rip, wrap. So here's the very first question. I've covered the choices, and the question is, the main purpose of the passage is to blank. Now let's rephrase that if possible. So right now this is a statement, let's rephrase it as a question. And to my mind, the question is, what is the passage doing? And frankly, we can go right over there to the passage and look at what the title is, right? It's right there in the blurb. Can economics be ethical? I would say that the thing that this passage is trying to do is to answer that question, is to pose that question, can economics be ethical? And then to try and explore how it can be, if so. So I went back to the passage, I read around for a little bit, and now I have an idea of what the answer is probably going to be. And it's probably going to be about ethics in economics. So let's expose, and let's go through them. The main purpose of the question is to A, consider an ethical dilemma, okay, ethics, sure, posed by cost-benefit analysis. This feels new. This feels like jargon. Now, if you remember from the passage, a cost-benefit analysis is brought up in a minor example referring to Adam Smith's theory of rational self-interest. I think it was some city planners are doing a cost-benefit analysis on whether or not to install a new train system. This choice sounds smart, but it's really kind of hinging on something that has very little to do with the main point of the passage. So I'm gonna strike it. Main purpose of the passage is to B, describe a psychology study of ethical economic behavior. This happens in the passage. This is what the last paragraph or so is about. But it's not what the main purpose of the entire passage is. So the main purpose of the passage is rarely going to be something that is introduced late in the passage. We're looking for an answer that pertains to the basic thesis of the passage, the main driving idea. And that main driving idea is about whether or not it's possible for economics to be an ethical practice. So I'm going to cross off B. C, the purpose of the passage is to argue that the free market prohibits ethical economics. Now that sounds like a position put forth in the beginning of the passage. However, I wouldn't say that the passage itself takes a stand on any one particular position. Let's leave that for now and let's look at D and see if D is closer. So D, the main purpose of the passage is to examine ways of evaluating the ethics of economics. I mean, that's it. Unlike C, it doesn't take a position. It examines a couple different arguments, right? Because that's what the passage does. It examines ways of evaluating the ethics of economics. So what we did there is we rephased the question, what's the passage doing? And then we predicted what the answer would be. We built a mental model in our own words of what we thought the answer was going to be. And examining ways of evaluating the ethics of economics is very similar to the idea that we had in our heads, can economics be ethical? Or how can economics be ethical? If you can successfully develop a mental model of what the answer is going to be before you even look at the questions, that will help you maintain your focus and not be tempted by questions that bring up otherwise unrelated jargon, right? Otherwise unrelated technical vocabulary from the piece.